Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode number, I already forgot what I just said, 233 of At Odds with the Unbreakable Spirit.
And the executioner, Daniel Travis. Let's jump into the topics.
Thank God, I thought you were frozen again. I'm Matthew Smith, aka the Unbreakable Spirit. Yeah, we got 3 topics, even though it's a crossover episode.
Yeah, alright, anyway.
Let's
number
tell
one.
you what they are.
1.
Is DC, I was getting into that, is DC Studios and the DCU already going down the toilet?
Number 2.
The results of Night of Champions 2025.
3.
2026, sorry. And the results of NXTGreat American Bash 2026. But for now, I need to pull up the timer because we gotta talk about DC Studios.
Yeah. Alright, I'm just gonna jump into it. It's kind of not looking too good for James Gunn and DC Studios when you did your first movie and it kind of did decently in the box office. You do your second movie and it bombs at the box office.
Don't mind that, people. You're not gonna hear it anyways.
But that's just like that's a bad start. If you have one movie that kind of does decently well and another movie does terribly.
Well, I don't think that's James Gunn's fault. Millie should have been actually promoting the movie instead of saying what she said. I don't know what she said, but apparently it was enough to have people like boycott it day one.
Yeah, but I mean, what do you think? Like, do you think the DCU is already in trouble?
Well, DC movie universes have been in trouble for a while now.
Yeah.
Like, that's nothing new.
Yeah, but that's kind of bad where it's just like, you're already 2 movies in, you have a 3rd movie on the way, Clayface.
Plus you have like 2 TV shows.
Yeah, and it's like, maybe it's just like, maybe like the public's into like maybe it's like the superhero fatigue and the public domain. Maybe it's just,
Yeah, maybe.
Or maybe it's just, I guess like the general public is like, cause at the end, like if you go watch Superman, you go see Supergirl, you don't really like, you could watch both 2 movies and they don't really feel like a shared universe.
True, that is very true.
Because like, if I'm supposed, and this is just me being honest here, is that if I'm supposed to watch, if Superman Man of Tomorrow that comes out next year around this time, and I need to go see 2 other Superman to the Supergirl and the Superman movie to fill in the gaps, it doesn't really feel like I need to.
It would be nice if, like, Man of Tomorrow took place around the same time as the Supergirl movie. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I'm probably gonna buy both on digital anyways. I haven't bought Superman yet, but I'll probably buy Supergirl and watch them before Man of Tomorrow just to refresh myself.
Yeah, but I mean, like, what are your thoughts on this?
I think it's too early to say if it's going down the toilet. And the reason people are thinking that is directors are apparently not wanting to work with James.
And that's like, ugh.
Now, I don't know why. For all I know, it could be the reason that Disney fired him a few years ago.
I mean, because the reason that I've heard is because maybe that, like, other directors don't really see him as like their boss, more they see him as like an equal. I'm just guessing, but that seems likely, you know? Or maybe
despite the fact that he is co-president of DC Studios?
Yeah. Or maybe because he spent so many years as a director. I don't know. I'm just making stuff up. I don't know. But
yeah, that tracks, honestly, with you.
But it's just, look, the thing that's my big concern about the DCU is that for movies that are supposed to set up a new universe, a new timeline is you're not really giving. I know you want us to go like, oh, this is what's going on with this character. This is what's going on with that character. Is you're not really like this was like the Supergirl was like the only movie to give us like, okay, a little bit of background, a little bit of flashbacks, like, hey, this has happened, this has happened, this has happened. But any other movie, you
Well,
just like,
the reason they did that is we've seen Superman's origin 10 million times.
yeah,
Did you
true.
really want to see it again?
No, but it's just cause also like with what Superman Man of Tomorrow, with what the first Superman movie talked about Krypton being evil in this new universe, you thought that would get more explored, but no, that didn't even get touched on at all.
Nope.
Because okay, like, are you concerned about the DCEU's future? Honestly, like since they only have like 2 movies and 2 TV shows.
In all honesty, I'm gonna say somewhat yes. I'm not
Shadows,
100% like they're in trouble, but I'm not 100% that they're fine. Thank you, Oliver, for giving me a jump scare.
you were saying?
I was saying that with the movie industry as it is, I feel like the superhero boom that started with the MCU
In
is
the Dark Knight.
kinda on a downcline.
Yeah.
Like for years, I'm gonna have to scoot back to do this. Superhero movies were like the hottest thing of the summer. For years and years and years they were. But now, with it being the 2020s and the box office in itself being pretty much dead, it's taking a nosedive. We can thank COVID for that.
Yeah, true. Cause
Plus,
my
with streaming services on the rise, do you really even need to go to a movie theater to see a movie?
fair point. That's a fair
Fun
point.
fact that's kind of off topic, but also kind of on my point. I saw the first Five Nights at Freddy's movies in my chair in my room on Peacock. I did not see it in theaters.
That's a fair point. I guess my big point is I think for this universe to what do you think the DCU needs to do to honestly succeed? Because keep in mind, the next show we got for this DCU is Lanterns next month, and then a couple months
Yeah, and
later,
honestly, I'm only gonna watch a pilot of that. I've only seen like one trailer, admittedly. But when thinking about it, I've realized I'm not very hyped for that show. I'll give it a test, like I said on the podcast, because we have evidence that I've said I'll give it a shot. But if I don't like the pilot, I'm not checking out episode 2.
yeah, that's fair. My honest thoughts on because keep in mind, and then we are then in October we got Clayface based off of the 2 episodes Fear of Clay storyline
And is that a movie or a TV show?
movie.
Okay, so that'll most likely be in theaters unless TV and Netflix, which apparently owns them now,
I thought it was Paramount.
want to just no Paramount bid on it, but they got outbid by Netflix.
Okay, but anyway, you were saying
If they like we I think the major problem is honestly they could release the movie on a streaming service, but then that leaves no room for the theater. I hate to say this, but streaming services are the future of the entertainment industry.
yeah, because my biggest concern from okay, yeah, I agree with you that the DCU is the biggest is my the thing I think the DCU is in jeopardy for is that I think from a character point of view is that it doesn't really and I'm going to say this again because I will say it again is that it doesn't really feel like because if you're going somewhere, if this universe has an end goal, it doesn't really feel like it has. There's not really a destination. It's just more of just, hey, this character's got this going on. Hey, this character's got
Yeah,
this going on.
Yeah, which is why when we did our DCU plan episode, we had concise, big endings to each chapter. But with each year, more and more of Chapter 1 getting released, I don't know if Chapter 1 is ever going to end.
Yeah, because how long we got on the timer?
It went off.
Okay. Final thought. All right, I'll say my final thoughts is I think the DCU is, if it to honestly succeed and stay alive in this era of media, I believe that for the average viewer and for people who are actually aware of the comic book media that they are using or the source material, that you need to honestly make you feel like, okay, I don't need to go watch. I can just go watch one movie and one show and figure out what's going on with not having to connect all the dots. Because
Yeah.
with Marvel, you have to watch everything to connect all the dots. Doesn't
Yeah,
really
and
feel
I'm a
that way for these.
casual MCU fan, so I don't watch their streaming shows.
What are your final thoughts?
My thoughts are, is the DCU in trouble? If they don't get their crap together, yes. If they do, they stand a chance, but I would say it would be on life support during that chance.
Yeah. Okay, we'll be
Anyways,
back,
we'll be right back with Night of Champions.
which we will definitely return to this topic, probably.
Most definitely. And we are back with topic number 2, the 1 week late results of Night of Champions 2026.
Yay.
And this show, for what it was, and by that I mean it being the longest main roster PLE we have had in a hot minute, it was pretty good, not gonna lie. Anyways, we're gonna go in order that we predicted, if that's alright with you. I know you like to be a little chaotic.
Yay. Okay, what did we got?
Alright, the first match, which was surprisingly the first match of the 1 hour on ESPN, the King of the Ring Finals, Jey Uso versus the Ruler, Obafemi.
Obafemi won. Not surprised.
Yeah, but I will say I do believe Jey put up a fight. Not sure how I feel about Ova's choice of opponent, but that's for another episode. Probably the one before SummerSlam, if we're being honest.
Yeah.
Anyways, match number 2, Queen of the Ring, the Genius of the Sky, Io Sky versus Liv Morgan. We were both right on this one. We need to call Io the Queen of the Sky now. Because that's what she is, and she'll be challenging Liv Morgan at SummerSlam.
What night? We don't know yet.
Yeah, we do not know. Anyways, the next match was the Women's United States Jade Cargill versus Tiffany Stratton. And Daniel was right. It was Tiffy time.
Cool.
United States Trick Williams versus Ricky Saints. I said that he would whoop that trick that's Ricky Saints, and I was right.
Yeah.
Up next, this was honestly the main event, so I'm actually going to skip that and do the steel cage. Seth Rollins versus Braun Breaker. In my opinion, if I'm being 100, the wrong person won. I know I picked the guy who won, Seth Rollins, which gave me a point. But Braun needed this win.
Yeah. I'm very confused.
Yeah, TKO booking.
Yes.
I don't want to blame WWE Creative, so I'm going to blame their parent company. What are they going to do? Sue me?
No, I agree with you.
Alright, main event, WWE Championship, Cody Rhodes versus Sami Zayn versus Gunther.
Sami won!
I don't know how we didn't see that coming, considering he is loved in Saudi Arabia. But one of the topics we'll be discussing next week is the fact that we have 2 transitional champions in WWE in recent weeks.
Yes.
You'll have to see the other one next week. Anyways, Overall, I believe we tied for this because neither of us got that match right. So the scores are Daniel with 1, 2, 3, and me with 3. Yeah, we tied.
Whoopee.
And thankfully, we didn't do punishment for either of these, so I don't have to flip a coin, whether it be on my
Yeah.
phone or on my laptop.
Yeah.
We'll be back with the results of NXT Great American Bash, which was aired live on the CW. And we are back with topic number 3, aka third and final topic, NXT
Number 3.
Great American Bash 2026.
Yep.
Honestly, people, I watched this when it happened. Daniel was a bit busy with America's Greatest Pastime, if you know what I mean.
I watched this live.
But you did. What did you think of the first PLE on the CW?
Honestly, I'm gonna be honest, guys. It kind of felt like a pay-per-view, but it also kind of just felt like another episode of NXT.
Yeah, if I were the guy in charge of booking NXT PLEs, I guess we should just call them TV specials now, I would go to the CW and be like, hey, so we're having this special event on Sunday. Do you think you could block out, let's say, from 7 to 8 to be commercial free and have commercials for the rest of the episode?
Because I think that to me, honestly, kind of hurted that because it just was like, oh, okay, I'm just watching a normal episode of NXT. Okay. All right. What are the matches we got?
The matches were, I'm going to butcher this name again, Naraku versus Tony D'Angelo for the NXT Championship.
Which did not main event.
Shockingly. And I will say, before you guys say anything, yes, we forgot some matches. By the time we realized that, it was too late to predict them.
And no one really cared about the one match. Should have been a stipulation match, but that's besides the point.
Are you talking about match number 4?
Yes, moving on.
Alright, anyways, we thought Evil was going to reign over NXT when Naraku won the title. We were both wrong.
Yep.
On the opposite side, for the NXT Women's Championship,
The match that actually main evented.
yeah, we were both right.
Surprisingly.
Yeah. Anyways, after that, we have the NXT North American Championship match, Miles Bourne versus Tavion Heights.
Match was good.
Yeah, it was good. Miles is a solid competitor. I've seen him wrestle live.
Okay.
But in the end, yeah, Miles retained, giving the first blood for said event.
Next.
The final match we predicted, and honestly, I don't remember the other matches because honestly, I didn't really care about them. I don't remember this guy's first name, and I'm not gonna try to butcher it. Sugars versus Dion Lennox. So the guy that got booted out of Dark State versus the potential leader of Dark State.
Yes.
This should have been this should not have been a match. This should have been a brawl.
Agreed. Like, I'm sorry, guys. Like, look, I know people say that, oh, I'm a big fan of stipulations, but I'm only a big fan of stipulations when the rivalry calls for it. Like,
I've called you out on that in the past, and I will say I agree with you in this. It should have been some form of stipulation where there was no disqualification.
Or a steel cage or something.
Steel cage is still no DQ.
Yeah.
But in the end, Sugars won, giving me 2 points for this.
And then got his ass beat.
Yeah. Anyways, I'm gonna stop sharing screen. That is all we have for this. And honestly, we hinted at this earlier. Normally, after this type of episode, we do a pop culture episode. But we have some stuff we want to talk about in wrestling, so we'll be back next week with pro wrestling and more debates and discussions. Follow us on Instagram, Twitter, our website, and YouTube. Links in the description. Tell us what you thought of the topics today in the comments. We'll be back next week with more debates and discussions. But until then, the Executioner, who you are currently looking at his ceiling, and the Unbreakable Spirit will still be at